真似だけど真似じゃない。
ねえママ
鳥
うだちゃんママ
Pokemon number 132, Ditto. The Pokedex description goes as follows. It can freely recombine its own cellular structure to transform into other life forms. Now, if you've played Pokemon before, you'll be familiar with Ditto. It's one of the strangest yet most engaging Pokemon of probably all the Pokemon. There's nothing quite like a Ditto in the game. It's its own sort of offspring, it's its own sort of brand of Pokemon. And if you've played Pokemon before, a lot of Pokemon represent wild animals, natural substances, ghosts, spirits. With the later games, obviously Pokemon started stemming into sort of deity Pokemon, gods, sacred beings, things like that. But this theory that I'm going to tackle in today's video actually suggests that Ditto is something completely different, something strange, something unsettling. And with that, I'm Galay Boy Jr., and this is the Ditto theory. So standing at around a height of 0.3 meters and weighing about 4 kilograms according to the Pokemon.com website, what makes Ditto so different to other Pokemon? Well, of course, that would be its ability. Its ability is Transform. It's the ability to make a perfect replica of a Pokemon or a person based on what Ditto remembers of the thing. But if Ditto can't remember the person fully, it'll sort of fill in the blanks. A little bit like an AI, sort of like ChatGPT. It'll sort of fill in the blanks, make a version of what it remembers the person or thing looking like, which usually ends up with Ditto's face being the face of the thing itself. But the strange thing about Ditto is that there's not really any Pokemon like Ditto. There's no Pokemon that can transform the way Ditto can. There's no Pokemon that look remotely like Ditto. Ditto is truly one of a kind. It's its own thing. It's its own entity. But that's where this theory comes in. Why is there no Pokemon like Ditto? Because what if Ditto wasn't a Pokemon? What if Ditto was a lab experiment gone wrong? And that's where this theory comes in. It's that Ditto are a human-created experiment to sort of repopulate Pokemon that are dying out. What's better than trying to build zoos and keep them in a solitude when you can just create your own Pokemon? Your own creation that can become whatever you want it to be, whether it be Pokemon, humans, or even legendary figures like Mew or Mewtwo. I know that's its own theory, that Ditto was a creation of Mew that went wrong, hence the exact same pink colouring, but I'll talk about that in another video. This theory is the Ditto being a lab experiment in order to repopulate dying Pokemon. Now, I know you're thinking, well, where's your backing? Where's your backing? How am I supposed to believe you? Well, I've got someone to help me with this. This is my brother, Oshi. He's quite well known for his Pokemon Shiny videos and is a vast book of knowledge when it comes to Pokemon. So I'm going to let him tell you the reasoning behind this theory. Take it away, bro.
Thanks for that, bro. Hello everyone, my name's Oshi. I'm a YouTuber and live streamer who used to specialise in Pokemon and shiny hunting, but now I do a variety of different things, so it's really nice to come back and talk about Pokemon again after such a long time. So, where's the evidence that Ditto is a lab experiment? Well, firstly, I think we need to look at Ditto on a cellular level. When breeding the Pokemon, we can see just a glimpse of what Ditto's internal biology is actually capable of. As when it's left in the daycare with any other Pokemon, Ditto can breed with that Pokemon, regardless of gender, thus creating an offspring of the parent Pokemon, and these can truly take any form. Really anything from a tiny Apom all the way up to a hulking Dragonite. Ditto's capabilities feel truly limitless. The only Pokemon that Ditto can't breed with is itself, and most of the legendary and mythical Pokemon. So here's our first crack. In the Pokemon universe, the legendary Pokemon are considered to be little more than myths. They're mythical beasts and legendary creatures that humans have little to no experience with or exposure to. So the chances of humans being able to create a Pokemon that could copy the biology of these mythical Pokemon is incredibly slim, as they'd have little to no DNA to work with, very little experience with the legendary Pokemon themselves, and no place to really start a cloning process. So in terms of what a Ditto can copy, it seems to only be Pokemon that humans already have experience with or have easy access to. Secondly, we very rarely see Ditto far from human civilization, which suggests to me that Ditto are placed close to home, so they can be examined and logged to see their effectiveness when placed against wild Pokemon. If this theory is true, and Ditto was created to help population control, then there would 100% be scientists monitoring the progress of those Dittos, as well as a plan as to where and when those Dittos would be placed into the wild. And finally is Ditto's ability to transform into a human form. Although there are Pokemon such as Jynx, Mr. Mime, and both Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan, as well as many other bipedal Pokemon who closely resemble humans, there are no Pokemon who share DNA or similar genetic code to humans. But strangely enough, with Ditto, it can recognize and reshape its own genetic code to resemble a human being's. This could mean that somewhere along the line Ditto was exposed to human DNA. But where? Well, most likely within these labs where it had been created. Tests would have been run alongside human DNA to make sure Ditto truly did have the capabilities to transform into anything. And with that, thank you all very much for listening. Back to you, bro.
I don't think I could have said it any better myself, to be honest. Thanks for that, bro. And again, if you enjoyed hearing Oshi's voice and thought, hey, that guy sounds like he knows a lot about Pokemon, go and find him over at Twitch TV/Oshiman or on YouTube under Oshiman. He makes a variety of content, from Pokemon to just random indie games to really anything you could think of, Dark Souls, things like that, so make sure to go and check him out. Thanks again for that, bro. But returning back to the theory, if you've seen the Pokemon movie, Pokemon Mewtwo Strikes Back from 1998, you'll remember two scenes as well as some of the scenery from the movie depicting Pokemon experimentation, as well as Pokemon laboratory experiments themselves, which suggests that humans have been tampering with Pokemon for a while now, and it isn't unheard of within the Pokemon universe. And just take a look at Mewtwo itself. It is literally a clone of Mew, created from Mew's own DNA. So what if Ditto was just an attempt at cloning something else? What if Ditto was the prototype of Mewtwo, a failed experiment which ended up creating one of Pokemon's strangest yet most loved Pokemon? Obviously there's no official or canon evidence to this theory, as Nintendo most likely don't want animal experimentation being at the forefront of their games, and a lot of the older, darker Pokemon and Pokedex entries have been sort of updated into the future games to sway away from more mature themes, so we can't ever really see there being any backing of the Ditto theory in future games. As much as I'd like it, and I'd find it interesting, and of course the avenues it would open in terms of content, it'd be brilliant, but for now, it's just gonna have to remain a theory. A game for no, we're not doing that. I'm not Mapat, but I am Gilloboy Jr., and this was the Ditto theory. Got any evidence or ideas of your own? Sling them down in the comments, and I'd love to see your take on this crazy theory, as well as the ideas on what you'd like to see next. So make sure you've got your thinking caps on. I'm going to do like a Ditto, and I'm going to transform into the end of this video. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Mwah. Much love.